Hi, and welcome. Thank you for finding the time out of your busy schedule to attend our training tonight. This month, our theme is Back to Basic. Last week, we learned how to cleanse our body effectively. And for this week, we will focus on the core of metabolic health. Nowadays, food are produced with the wrong concept. The majority of people value taste and convenience. How about nutrition? Well, it is the last things people care about. This is insurance for the sick, but how about those who are healthy? Let's set the right priorities, the priorities that protect us. Let's hear more from Claudia.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's great to be back, as always. So I hope that all of you have had your dinner and feeling great. Okay, so please give me a moment as I share my screen. Okay, so I hope that all of you are seeing my screen fine. All right. So here's a quick disclaimer before we start. Okay, I'm sure everyone on this call have the right intentions. Okay, not just people in this call, I'm sure beyond the four walls. Everyone, before they approach anything, we always start with the right intentions, right? We always have the right intention to be a better person, to be more understanding, to communicate better, to lead better at work, and just be able to have a better control of our health and just life in general, right? However, because of distractions and the overwhelming information that we have all around us, suggesting us the best way or the most appropriate way to live, sometimes, we get caught up in all these things, we get confused, and we have the wrong priorities. So the same also applies to our health. Okay, we all have the right intentions and we all want to start and to set ourselves on success. Well, along the way, sometimes we get off track and we have priorities, in fact, that will put us on a disadvantage. So the reason why we're having this theme on Back to the Basics is very important because we're revisiting some fundamentals and remind us on the core concept of health that we have to adhere in all times in order to set our priorities straight and at the right track. So the first part, of course, we've talked at length last week on why we need to do it, how to do it, and how does Unicity compares to other traditional cleansers out there. All right, and how this would lead to a more better functioning of your body overall. And next is protect. Okay, you can do all the cleansing, but imagine if a person drive out on the road, okay, a motorcycle or a bike, all right, without any form of protection on. So like no helmet, no nothing. So anytime if you just go a bit faster, you fall off, that's the end of it. Right? And same thing for our car, we need seat belts and all these kind of things to protect us. Okay, because without protection, no matter what we do, it's going to be in vain when things happen in the wrong direction. So protection is very important, of course, for any kinds of bodily infections, diseases, and of course, metabolic disease is one of the crises that we are facing today. So we will be focusing more on this part, which is just as crucial. Then next week, we will transition to the last step, which is nourish. I'm sure none of you just want to be healthy for just 1 week or 1 month. Then next month, I can get diabetes, I can get heart disease, or I don't mind. It doesn't matter. I mean, it defeats the purpose, right? We want to have good health for as long as we can. And it's never a convenient time to fall sick. It's never a good time to fall sick when you're young. It's never a good time to fall sick when you're old or when you're older age. Nobody wants to suffer. So of course, this is something we have to do consistently and proactively in order to have the life that we want, all right, and to enjoy good health. So, as you all know, All right, I'm sure everyone knows on how serious, okay, obesity is now in Asia, right? Southeast Asia, sad to say that Malaysia is leading, all right, with quite concerning statistics, all right, with 44.2%. And I think by now it is close to 50. And it's, of course, more than all these countries here. However, some of you may feel better about it. Oh, I mean, not that bad. However, if your country is able to make itself on this list, means it's serious enough, right? If not, you wouldn't caught the attention of journalists to put it here. So this is something that we should be more concerning about. So what is the reason that leads to such high obesity rates in Malaysia? Even though we have a much shorter stature and our genes to obesity is not as prevalent compared to Western counterparts. So of course, the main part we have to go to is definitely the food. And one of the most, the food that will affect obesity the most, right, which is sugar. So if you look at here, this illustration, per kilogram of sugar is 1 ringgit and 60 cents in West Malaysia. So it's slightly more expensive, 1 ringgit and 75 cents in East Malaysia. If you compare this to other neighboring countries, Singapore has the most, okay, it's the most expensive to purchase. So it's 3 ringgit, 13 cents, and followed lastly by Indonesia. So there's no wonder, right? When you go to the mamak store, okay, whenever you ask for, kurang manis or sugar reduction, they'll always just, there's no change at all, and they'll just give you a really sweet cup of tea because it really doesn't cost that much, right? Yes, it's accessible, it is affordable, and we love it. Okay, Malaysians, we love our dessert. And of course, okay, our life, as what they say, there's no life if you don't eat desserts. Okay, so of course, this contributes to all kinds of food. We cannot live without our bandung, okay, and of course, our kueh, and all the ice cream, all kinds of things. And Malaysians are taking 55 grams, which is 11 teaspoons of sugar in excess every given day, without knowing it. Okay? So here comes the question. Who do you think are more exposed to all these foods that you see? Is it all these people wearing masks, okay, you and me, or people in the hospital? All right? Come to think about it, of course, people in the hospital are sick. Hence, we always have this thought that they are definitely in a much worse off condition than us, right? But in reality, it is the healthy group of people that does not have the protection that people in the hospital have. Why do I say so? Okay, because sick patients, usually if they're in the hospital, they want to do everything they can to get out of it. All right. I don't know of anyone that want to stay in the hospital voluntarily for as long as possible. Okay, nobody wants to do that. So most of the time, patients, they themselves are motivated to get better, and also they have access to medical 24-hour medical service to check on them whenever there's anything that happens. Any abnormalities will be picked up right away. And of course, sick patients, most people, if they are there, they have access to health insurance, okay, in order to subsidize with their bills and things like that. But healthy population on the other side, most of the time are people who don't care about their health, okay, because, oh, I'm healthy, so I don't have to care about it. So this is where we, in reality, are getting worse. And we are closer to getting a medical condition. And because of this, we are, in fact, more in need of insurance, okay, so that we don't get disease so quickly. Unfortunately, as of late, and now even, there isn't an insurance that covers this part of health. Okay, only when you're sick, that's when insurance come in, right? So these are the risk factors that we are faced every day, okay, with the fried food, with the aroma that it gives us, and sedentary. We all love our Netflix, our TV, pollution, and all kinds of stress that makes up our life today. So the healthy population are in fact at a more increased risk of disease compared to those who are in the hospital. So who is more at risk? I think by now you should know the answer. It's us, right? And here is a prime example. Okay, I'm sure that you all are familiar with Godfrey Gao. He's not just only, famous for his good looks, but he acts quite well. So in order for him to maintain his standard, all right, actor, they have to take much attention into their physical appearance. So they definitely do everything they can to stay healthy. They eat well, okay, they have access to gyms, they have the best personal trainer. They are more healthy than all of us here combined, okay? So unfortunately, people like him, just one fine day and an incident of overwork, and that's it. His heart stopped, and that's the last we heard of him. Okay, and especially this one also, okay, very healthy. Nobody knows he has any problem. One fine day, okay, he also just passed on like that. And this also happened to people who are very healthy, like, okay, athletes. Physically, they are much better than us. But all this group, okay, no one is an exemption when it comes to, bad health, all right? And one fine day, something can just happen and we may not be as protected as we think. So what is the purpose of medical insurance? Is this here for us to fall sick? So when we fall sick, we can use it, right? Even if the government were to give you this for free, or someone sponsor you with the most medical coverage, and you can stay in the hospital for free, would you want to fall sick now? I'm sure nobody wants to do that. Okay? So this is really the thing that we need to insure ourselves from, because these are the main driving factors that will lead us to all kinds of modern day diseases that you can think of. So this is the part that we need to be insured, all right, to make sure that all the bad stuff they're eating here don't come into our system. So who is healthier? Well, in the hospital, we always take good control and good measure and patients' food intake. So to be frank, the sick person actually eat more healthier than us. Okay, frankly speaking, because we control their food. But people like me and you, we don't control. Just eat whatever, okay? So it's more than meets the eye, and this is why today's topic is so important for all of us. So there are two major problems when it comes to this metabolic disease. First of all is the problem of food. And second is our body, how our body regulate and, able to regulate all these things that's going on. So first of all, our body itself produces up to 80% cholesterol. Intentionally and originally, it is supposed to keep up with our body demands of hormones, okay, of skins, okay, and for our body organs to protect them. However, over time, because of our dietary intake, a lot of things start to change in the level of our genome. Okay, people start to develop, start to have the genes that can make them produce more cholesterol in their body. Okay, and all this is inherited. And individuals also lack the ability to remove excess cholesterol. They're producing more and they can't remove excess. And over time, body will no longer be sensitive to high level of LDL. So it will keep producing and keep stimulating, and you keep, building up more and more. So how do we tackle this problem of overproduction, okay, which happens and is so common nowadays? So we need to have something that can target the liver, because this is where our cholesterol is being produced. So liver, whenever it is combined with cholesterol enzyme that's in the body, it will then produce cholesterol. So polysorcanol, which is this ingredient present in Bow's Life C+, can block, okay, the enzyme. So whenever liver does not have this enzyme, does not interact with it, naturally cholesterol in the body will also reduce. So this is a concept that's been around, that's been used by statins. okay, that to suppress the level of cholesterol. However, long-term use of statin can leave behind residue, okay, that is unpleasant and can have side effects long-term in the body. So secondly, after covering the liver, which is the main production site of cholesterol, next is reabsorption, okay, as if our body don't have enough cholesterol. So our body will also reabsorb cholesterol in the intestine naturally, okay? So this is what happens. In the body, there will be receptors that will bind to cholesterol in the small intestine. So when that happens, more cholesterol will be reabsorbed and to be circulated back into the system. So with BioSlife C+, it has plant sterol that will attach itself on the receptor. So because of this, cholesterol cannot attach itself on the receptor, hence it will be removed and then reduced in the body. So even though food already has cholesterol, 20%, every 200 milligram of cholesterol, like one egg yolk, will stimulate our body to produce 800 milligram excess of cholesterol. So this is a lot, okay, and we eat eggs very often. So this is something that we cannot avoid, all right? So we have to not just only look at the body physiologically, we also have to tackle the food, which we talk about a lot just now. So thirdly, we have to effectively manage in the area of removing cholesterol from food. So whenever we eat whatever food, it has cholesterol. The 6 types of fibers in BioSlife C+ can successfully, okay, attach itself and wrap around the cholesterol. So whenever that happens, this fiber will remove the excess cholesterol in the food. So that's the reason why we have to take BioSlife C+ before food in order to have this function. And fourth, okay, this method uses chrysanthemum. And chrysanthemum has this function of reducing cholesterol levels and LDL levels because of its unique component. So I can tell you, there is no other supplement out there that can effectively reduce cholesterol so in-depth and so detailed like BioSlife C+. We use 4 different mechanisms, and each of these mechanisms comprehensively reduce cholesterol levels as a whole. And the results is so effective that we have a history of 20 years and has been verified with our latest study that's published in 2018. So here we have, where we published in a journal of dietary supplements that proves the effectiveness of how BioSlife C+ reduces LDL, okay, and total cholesterol, especially for those who have high cholesterol. So in summary, BioSlife C+ is the answer to tackle cholesterol problem. It targets the liver, targets the small intestine with the receptor, and incoming food, the 6 type of fiber will reduce excess cholesterol and together with chrysanthemum. So this is how BioSlife C+ works, okay, to reduce cholesterol levels. And next, we need to tackle obesity, right? Because as we know, Southeast Asia, we are number 1. So how does obesity come about? Okay, it comes from this concept. Whenever we have long-standing and we are always eating high amounts of high carbohydrate food, our insulin level will spike. It will always be at a high level. When this happens, sugar will then enter the fat cell. Insulin enables this to happen. So, okay, more and more sugar will accumulate, and this is how a fat cell will expand. It becomes so big and it will multiply. So over time, even though you don't consume any food that is high in carbohydrate, your insulin level will automatically be high, okay, because this is how it has always been. So our body has adjusted to that kind of situation. So your fat cell will start to multiply, okay, because it's become too full, loaded with too much sugar. So this is how fat cell will then multiply, and then a new set of cells will accumulate sugar, and so on. So if we don't do anything to stop this from happening, as you know, okay, fat cell will just keep multiplying. And unfortunately, fat cells will not disappear, okay? It will only increase. All the good stuff in the body is very hard to maintain. We always have to, pay attention to it. But when it comes to fat cell, it is a very resilient cell, okay? It doesn't disappear, it doesn't die, but it will only increase. So fiber matrix in BIOS Life S, all right, will reduce insulin. And this, whenever it happens, okay, sugar can come out, all right, from the fat cell. It's able to be mobilized, and it will empty the fat cell, and then you become smaller. So fat cells will shrink, and this is how we can lose excess weight. So BIOS Life S is very effective, especially on food that has a lot of sugar. So things like high carb food like rice, okay, noodles, things like that. So whenever BIOS Life S with the fiber matrix combines itself with sugar, it will then effectively remove it away from the body. So this is also another study that's conducted in the University of Sydney to find the effectiveness of BIOS Life S. Okay, so if you don't take any BIOS Life if you don't take any BIOS Life S, okay, your sugar will be very high here. And this is what you take if you have 1 dose. All right, and you have 2 doses, your sugar level will drop even more significantly, and you have an even better sugar profile that is lower for an extended period of time. So this is when it gets very dangerous, when we don't have any form of insurance that protect our sugar level. Okay, it gets too low and we get really hungry, then we'll reach out for another high sugar food in order to satisfy that hunger immediately. So this is where with the wrong intentions, we add on extra pounds. So BIOS Life S can really help to stop that craving. So BIOS Life Slim is the key to weight control. It lowers insulin levels, and it binds itself with sugar and remove it from the body, from the food, and also in our body cells as well. And best of it all is that it's safe and it has no side effects. So last but not least, we will talk about BIOS 7. All right, it's our latest addition to the BIOS Life range, and it has some really fascinating features. So BIOS Life 7, it is formulated with a mixture of fibers, insoluble fibers that has this unique proprietary fiber blend that's unique only to Unicity. We know exactly what type of fiber, in what composition, how to blend it, what technology, in order to give us these fascinating results. And we also add this unique yeast fermentate, which is not your standard yeast fermentate that you buy from a bakery. Okay, this has been uniquely studied and identified that is able to exhibit strong prebiotic features in the formulation. And of course, we further fortify the formula with polyphenols that can be found on the surface of grapes, pomegranate, and apple as well. And this birth forth a formulation that can significantly increase microbial diversity by just using it twice a day for 12 weeks. So as you can see here, red color is bad bacteria that is predominantly in the gut before taking BIOS 7. So together with the blend of fibers, yeast fermentate, and the polyphenols, it is able to exhibit a very strong difference in the gut post BIOS 7. as much as 58 times increase, not just the number, but the type of good bacteria present in our gut. Okay, so of course we know how it works, but exactly how does this good bacteria translate to better sugar control? So bile 7 with good bacteria will go through fermentation, okay, in the body that will produce what we call short-chain fatty acid. So there's a lot of studies on short-chain fatty acid on how we can reverse even some really serious diseases, okay? But I will focus more towards metabolic health because this is our focus today. So short-chain fatty acid can enable our body, all right, to be more receptive towards insulin. Okay, it enhances enzymatic activity in the liver and the muscle tissue. Both of these areas are tissues that uses a lot of sugar, okay, uses because they need a lot of energy, they're always working. So bile 7, because of this short-chain fatty acid, can enable our body to use it a lot more effectively, and we are more sensitive to insulin. And as a result, it can lower sugar level, okay, long-term, and naturally our body cells will be more responsive and sensitive towards the action of insulin. So this is the 3 core bios, all right, that can fill in the gap and to create a solution that everyone so desperately needs. And and these 3 core bios tackles 3 main issues that everyone faces. Number 1 is cholesterol. Number 2 is weight loss. And number 3 is microbiome and sugar control. So in a summary, I know we have learned a lot today, and today is a great recap on a much needed topic. So first, we will just go through Bioscience C+ and how it works. So first of all, its main objective is to control cholesterol, and it works through 4 different mechanisms. It targets, first of all, at production site, which is the liver, and also absorption site, the small intestine. And we also target the food intake by removing excess cholesterol with different type of fibers and chrysanthemum. Next, in terms of controlling weight, okay, and sugar, we have Bio's Life S. So it works by lowering insulin levels so that sugar can be mobilized. It shrinks fat cells and it promotes weight loss. And it can also help to remove excess sugar. Last but not least, we have Bio 7, which is the latest development in this area, which targets specifically towards the microbiome. Okay, because of its unique yeast fermentate and proprietary fiber matrix, it's able to increase the good microbiome to as much as 58 times, and it also exhibits sugar-lowering benefits. So thank you everybody for your time here today. I hope that you have a great refresher on our session and it leads you to a better understanding of how these 3 core bios work in your life. Okay, so now we are open to question and answer. So feel free to post any questions if you have regarding these 3 core bios, and and we will have a session to address those questions. Okay, so I understand that this 3 core bios is something that many of you are familiar with. Okay, but if you have any experience that you like to share, you can also type in the chat as well. We will be glad to know. Hi, Heng Yu Chu. Nara, I'm so happy for your question. Yes, does Bio 7 tackle cholesterol at all? So this is a very good question, and I think that it's also a very relevant one. So the main mechanism of action, of course, is through the microbiome, and it lowers sugar. But at the same time, Bio 7 also can lower a certain degree of cholesterol. Okay, it can. But of course, it does not have the ingredients like Bio C+ that can lower it more specifically and more drastically. So to answer your question, yeah, it can reduce certain degree of cholesterol, and there are people who are able to experience that. But of course, if you compare to biosize C+, technically C+ would be more effective towards lowering cholesterol. I hope this answers your question. Okay, so from Mr. Jerry, if I got cholesterol and want to lose weight, which BIOS Protect I need to take? Okay, let me repeat. If I got cholesterol, okay, so cholesterol and want to lose weight, which BIOS Protect I need to take? All right, so if weight now is a more serious issue for you, and I think that weight should be the part that you want to focus first, then you can start with BIOS Life S first. So try for a period of time, because this can help to mobilize sugar from the fat cells and things like that. So it can help to facilitate weight loss. So once your weight loss is more stabilized, okay, your cholesterol for some, okay, to a certain degree will also help. But for the long-term management, because you continue to eat food, right, your body will still continue to produce cholesterol. So from then on, I would suggest you to switch to BioSife C+. And from there, you can just focus to take BioSife C+ for that long-term cholesterol management. So I hope this question can, this answer help you to transition if you need to. Okay? Oh, hi, A. Anonymous. Taking 2 doses of S is like taking 2 doses of vaccine. Wow, okay, what a great way to put it. And yes, okay, in that way, yeah. Ping you too. So do people take all three bios? From my knowledge, I don't think anyone take 3 bios in a day. Okay. Well, if they can do it, of course, right? But most people they don't. Okay, majority of the people just stick with one on the particular area that they're more concerned. But some people, of course, if they can afford, they will mix 2. Of course, the more the better lah, on more targeted areas. So usually depends on the person health concern, and we will go target more towards more specifically towards that. All right, but you need to have at least 1 BIOS. Okay, everybody needs to have at least 1 BIOS in their diet every day. Okay, egg yolk will raise our cholesterol. I thought egg is dietary cholesterol and doesn't affect our cholesterol. Okay, this whole egg yolk controversy has been around for a long time. Last time it does, last time it doesn't. But the reality is, once you take egg yolk, it will stimulate our body to produce cholesterol already. It will. Okay, that's just how it is. But this cholesterol, last time people say can, but now people are saying cannot. But who knows? Okay, maybe in the future, it may again. So I'm just stating of how it will naturally stimulate our body to produce cholesterol. But I think generally, if you are a person with cholesterol issues, just don't take too much of egg yolk, just to be on the safe side. Even though people say you can, just eat freely, but I think for cholesterol people, it's better to stay on the safe side, because we never know. Yeah, cholesterol, can be very rampant in our body if we don't control it, especially for those who already have that concern. Yeah. BioSife S, not so much lah. Yeah, S is still more targeted towards sugar and weight loss. Yeah. Okay, so of course, when we eat too much of high sugar food, all right, it will stimulate a lot of insulin. Sorry, no wonder I got blockage. Okay, so when insulin is very high, it will always stimulate, okay, in our adipose tissue, there's also a lot of sugar. So it will store sugar, all right? And this will lead to our fat cell expanding, and it will then spread out. Just now I showed in the presentation of an illustration, visual illustration of how it can slowly just branch out to become more. So in order for a person to have weight loss, insulin level need to be low as you can, all right? So if you have too much insulin all the time, then it will trigger a lot of haywire situation that will happen internally within the body. Okay, so I hope this answers your question. Heng Yu Chu, no wonder I got blockage, as I had been taking wrong bios all this while. Started with C+, then moved to Slim. Then I came out, and after my stand was recommended to take BIOS 7. Okay, let me just read again. You got blockage. Okay, why you have blockage, frankly speaking, this is not something that we can just determine based on products. Okay, it has to be evaluated from your overall diet, lifestyle point of view. Okay, and we need to also identify how all these lifestyle factor associate together with it. So we can't just shortlist, okay, something happened because of the products. Okay, we don't have a clear association to prove that. So we have to evaluate everything definitely with a better medical history. So, well, I'm glad to guide you on this. If you need to, feel free to send me an email and I can definitely walk you through this. Okay? So thank you everybody for your participation and for enlisting questions here. And I'm very grateful for your answers. And yeah, so next week we'll be continuing on the next topic, which is step 3 on Nourish. So I have researched on some very exciting things that I can't wait to share with you. So I hope you'll stay tuned to the next session and we'll learn together. Yeah. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much for your time and I see you again next week.